Hello, I'd like to talk about the income tax structure we have in the United States at present, considering the budget and the economy the way it is. Something that I kind of been thinking about lately. Currently, we have a progressive tax system, and that system is based upon your salary. The more money you make, the more percentage of tax you would pay. There are other systems being kicked around. Talk a little bit about both those. There's a flat tax system and a fair tax system. Currently in our system, like I said, the more money you make, the more tax you will pay. The less money you make, the less tax you will pay. Currently there are, in some estimates, possibly 45% of the population pay no tax at all because they live below the poverty line. In the current system we have now, some of the benefits to that would be, like I said, the more money you make, the more tax you pay. Making less money, you still get the same goods and services. And it's a stable system that we've actually used for a number of years that has actually allowed us to keep the government up and running with some minor glitches. The cons in this system would be the fact that congressmen, senators, and politicians actually set things up and give tax breaks and incentives to businesses and special interest groups to garner money for them for their own re-election, and it kind of unbalances the system, in my opinion, for those who have money to those who don't. The flat tax system you would actually think would be a system in which everyone would pay the same percentage of tax across the board. That is not really the case. After my research, I found that the percentages would be 17 to 23% or so, but it would be broken into tiers just as ours is. It would just be a much fewer number of wage brackets. So it would basically be the same system minus all of the other incentives, the mortgage, loophole, marriage penalties, all those things would actually go out the door. You would just pay the percentage of the tax, and that's how it would be. That could basically, I feel, would probably hurt those who can afford to pay tax the most, simply because of the fact that they would have to pay for the same necessities that everyone else has to have, but they will be using probably a higher percentage of their income to cover the necessities. Because like I said, 45% of the people right now pay no income tax, and within the flat tax system, they would be paying tax. So they would be paying anywhere from 15, 17% to 23%. That would actually take more money out of their pocket if they're only making $2,000 a month, and then they got to turn around and take $250 out of it just for the taxes. That leaves them less, and it'd be kind of hard, even harder for them to live on. The fair tax system is something that I'd actually thought that I would be pro for after my research, and I'm not going to say that I would be. The fair tax is basically a national sales tax that would be anywhere from 23 to 30% on every new item you purchased or any new service you purchased. Anything that's used would not be paid for this, and you would pay for it up front at the register. The cons for this is, the pros for this would be things such as you could control how much you would pay in tax. If you don't want to pay taxes, you just don't buy anything. You buy just the basic necessities. You could save your money and use it for investments. Those are some of the pros for this. It basically is stating that it would spur investment by people to save money and to invest money because they're not going to be taxed at a different rate. Businesses will no longer worry about being taxed at a higher rate for when they reach a certain goal. It's going to be the same and consistent across the board. Some of the cons, like I said, is 23%, 30% on top of an item when you buy it at the register. Could add quite a deal to certain products. A house or a car, the price could actually jump quite a bit, which means that lower income people probably would not be able to afford a lot of these new items. In turn, I believe that it would probably cause a black market system to actually come up where people would be stealing new things and selling them as used under the radar, so people wouldn't have to pay for taxes. So all in all, when I did my research on this, I thought that I was going to say pro-tax or flat tax would probably be one of the better systems that we could go with. But in conclusion, I have decided that I don't think so. I think we just need to reform our own tax system and possibly remove a lot of the loopholes and probably restructure it and have it written that Congress cannot be tweaking it and playing with it constantly all the time to do those kind of things. In the whole gist of this would be that I would like for you to actually do your own research, find out what you think, call your congressmen, your senators, and see if we could actually get them to actually work on a budget and maintain a budget that would be suitable and would actually help our country as a whole, so all of us wouldn't be hurting at the same time. That's it. Thank you.